Yo, 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 yo. What is good? Um, Here we are. The this camera's delayed, by the way, if you can't tell. It's like majorly delayed, so don't let that trip you up. This is the real camera right here. Um, this is the first installment of our new production masterclass series. Um, the AC community had to start it off somewhere. Probably the most conceited thing I've ever done is call myself a master with the production masterclass. I assure you, I'm not a master, but somebody had to start this off, and just think of this as more of a formative stream, just to get used to the sort of deal here with this new sort of thing. Uh, Bit of a simple project today. We're doing a progressive house, chill progressive house. Basically, I've got a project file here, example project that I made here in Ableton Live 11. Um, just gonna pick it apart a bit, go through some tips and tricks, some methods for progressive house. So, um, I'm a bit sick, by the way. If my voice sounds a bit nasally, that's why. Um, so I guess let's get right into it. I'll be taking questions from the chat, by the way. Don't shy away from asking about specific things that are to be mentioned here. I don't know why this is. Oh, it's because it's playing. That's why. It's weird. All right. So yeah. So I've got this track here, and it's pretty chill. It's very simple. Got three main elements going on. Since I guess there's some like sub elements here. There's some chordal elements. There's bass here, and there's some leads. There's the drums, which are quite simple. There's just some FX. Um, yeah, so I was working on this a little bit in ACBC yesterday. And damn, I really do sound sick. This is funny. I haven't really talked all day. Um, yeah, so I was working on this a little bit. I developed it a bit further. But I'll just break it down a little bit here. I guess best course of action is just to play it. It's not very long. It's not a full track by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll just give it a spin just so you can kind of hear what we're working with here. Let me know if that's a good volume or not. No, the CPU usage is fucking crazy. I promise it doesn't like actually reflect it. I don't think. I think it's just bugging out. Okay, so you get the idea. What Windows OS? Oh, it's Windows 10. I modded it a bunch. It looks like 95, 98. So yeah, that's the track. It's really, really simple. Very rudimentary progressive house here. Um, not too many elements going on. I think mainly what we're going to focus on today is uh, some structural theory. Um, I mean, I think that's the most important part of house, pretty much. Um, yeah, all right, let's get into it. So we've got three main elements, like I said, going on here in the sense. We've got the these sort of chordal elements here. So in the intro, it's just this, which is a patch from UHE repro. Sort of just call it retro stat. It's not, the naming's not too complicated here. Then it brings in these classic. Well, okay, so normally in progressive house you'd see like saw plucks, like think of like the dead mouse pluck. Here I kind of up the attack a little bit. Um, here in the LFO, so it's more of a wub, which I think works better uh, for a more chill progressive house track. So that just is kind of brought in here. It's just a saw. It's the saw with a filter. Um, there's a so okay in house generally, because with a what the fuck is that? No. Mods. Take care of that. I'm sorry. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't do it on my end. That's weird. All right. Anyways, that's funny. Layering is really important in house because the main thing you want to focus on, especially for chill house, is that you want a track to sound really contained, um, but you want it to sound full at the same time. You don't you don't want like a chill sort of minimal, simple house track to sound empty because you know it doesn't get you moving. Like rhythm is not the only thing that will get you moving, that will get people moving when they're listening to like a house track or just music in general. Um, because if you just have like a beat and it's really empty and I guess it's contextual, but layers are really really important when it comes to progressive house, I've found. So like these are really the only three layers going on here. Um, but even if you were to just omit this bit reduced stab here, it would sound like, yeah, sure, sounds fine, but you know, you're missing a lot of action in those frequencies that aren't tended to as much, which I think this element in particular really, really remedies. But I mean, it's not just this element specifically. It's more of a general concept. Then there's this respace that's going on throughout the entire track. You don't really think of respaces when it comes to house music, but I've found with like chill house that they're pretty nice. So not the most complex sound design in the world. It's just a you know hugely polyphonic saw with a filter on it. Really, really not. Oh, and the sub oscillator as well, sine. It's not doing much here. um, yeah, and then when you get over here, Put some sidechain on it just with a compressor because the drums, we'll get to that in a bit. It's really only in it's really up until a drop, I guess. It's just pretty much the same. Um, but here I just brought in some other layers with here you can brought in these layers. And those are from the mini log here. That's not a good angle. The mini log. Wait, I can view it in real time on OBS. I forgot. I'm so smart. Yeah, that's still not good. Come on. Good enough. Whatever. So the mini log here. I mean, it's the same concept. It's just really kind of simple patches. You know, not too high on the cutoff. Pretty low decay. Long release. So right. All right. Anyways, mini log is not as important here. So where am I? I need to figure this out. There we go. Good shit. All right. Nice. Nice going. Always good. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so like MStar said in the chat, more layers to increase the tension, the emotions, more energy climbing towards the drop. Don't go overboard with it. Yes. Good advice from MStar. Here, okay, we have in pink here, we have the lead, sort of lead melodic sounds. In the intro, it's this really reverbed out, I called it trance pluck. I mean, this is more artistic liberty. Like, it's not like, oh, use a fucking trance lead, trance pluck in your progressive hat. Like, no, it's not like that. It's just the idea. So progressively gets less reverbed out, but also the filter here is going down. This is this is a really fun plugin. This is some stuff that I used back in, like, I don't know, 2015, give or take. This is like Deadmau5 wannabe, like, ultimate, you know? Um this is all right. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Love some mouse gestures. Love some mouse gestures. All right. Yeah, this is like Deadmau5 wannabe. Magnum Opus VST plugin. Yeah, T-Force Alpha. Good shit. Anyways, it's just this patch here. This gets more pronounced. Here is I call this Tycho lead. I mean, it's just that. It's a Tycho lead. Just a triangle, I think. Right? Hold on. This is also repro. What is it? Yeah. Yeah, triangle. Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Taika, you know what this lead is. This is used more as a transition, honestly, like right here in the drop. It gets really loud and reverbed out, and then transitions into the outro. Here's a mini log patch called I call it 80s lead. Nothing really important here. I just have some effects going on. Phaser, chorus, reverb, OTT. Oh, and for mixing as well. Okay, this is really important especially for simple tracks. This is really, really important, and people don't realize how important this is because when you have something like this, which especially in when you get to when it comes to more chill genres, there's a lot of muddiness that people don't necessarily recognize off rep when they're producing. And that muddiness really just comes from, unnecessary bass frequencies. Generally, I would say, I mean, just cut anything below the 30 hertz range. 20, maybe 20. Below the 20 hertz range. You're not going to hear it unless you're on um, some huge sound system. You're not going to hear it. And it's only mud that will like affect dynamics later in the mix. So good to just cut that out. But if you have an element like a lead, for example, that's not using any, there's no necessary bass frequencies there, you know, cut it out. Just have a roll off right before the mid range ends, pretty much the mid band. Go as far as you can. Get any unnecessary frequencies out of there because they will only serve to muddy up your mix. And while you may not notice it right off rip, it's something that is pretty integral when you're mixing, especially for tracks that are using a lot of low frequencies, or lower intonations like here, like that's not the highest thing in the world, but you can hear that if this EQ were not here. There are definitely some frequencies there being cut, and well, maybe if you're listening to the element isolated, it might sound a little tinny in the mix, especially with a bass as thick as this. That's a really necessary mixing step in my opinion. Okay, that's pretty much it for the synths right now. We'll come back to it later, especially when we get into the structural angle of it all. Then we've got, I'll go to the drums last. We've got these effects here. Hold on, let me get a swig of water. I mean, let's just attack these really quick. Riser and impact. I mean, I don't really need to do much explanation here. White noise. It's actually from the same sample here. Like, I just took this tail and boosted it a bunch and called that the impact. I like to separate this. Like, it creates a really neat sort of tension, I guess. Like, listen to this. So if this were like this, cool. But when you separate the two, it almost becomes like a percussive element. So it's like a tension buildup. Tension's still here for this bar, and then it's released. So it just emphasizes the switch in section more. This vocal foley, it's just from Splice. I think a really important thing to do when you're, because house can get kind of monotonous sometimes. It's important to kind of establish a motif with something. I mean, it could be a melody. I have multiple motifs going on in this mix. But this, I think, is the most important one here. It's just this like drowned out. I wish I had the dry version of this because that, and I'll explain that later. But it's just this really drowned out and reverb, like vocal, percussive. I don't even know. Just here, take a listen to this. And I time stretched it a bunch to get those hits like on beat, in a sort of rhythmic way. So I switch those vocal hits around as well. So that pretty much goes on for the entire track. I mean, this especially, okay. It's, I'm using as many elements that aren't necessarily transitional elements as transitions as possible here. Like here. Anything to create more syncopation than you don't already have is probably a good idea. The drums, just bring in a kick here. Just start it off. It's, I think, what is this? Yeah, it's a Dead Mouse kick from a Splice pack. But Dead Mouse kicks are quite harsh, so I cut the tail a little bit and I low passed it quite a bit. It sounds like this now. Good thumpy kick. I mean, without the low pass, it sounds pretty harsh. Yeah, it could work, but maybe not for something this chill. Here I have this rim, and it's not used much as a rim hit, but something more akin to maybe a hi-hat even. Like, I'll put it with the kick. Maybe not a hi-hat, but you get the idea. It's a really drowned out, filtered. Let's take all these effects off. Oh wait, no, I don't want to mess with that actually. It's really just background. Goes for pretty much the whole track, half the track. This open hat. This is something we'll get into. This kind of starts to drop here. Syncopation and call and response are really effective techniques for making interesting house grooves. I mean, if you listen to this groove alone, it's quite interesting. It's like, you know, so this open hat, it's just at the start of each phrase, at the end of each phrase, and it's in this sort of call and response thing with the tom here. So you can I mean, if we start it off here, so like it's like the tom almost triggers the open hat here, which creates a cool sort of call and response effect. And then obviously these samples here being separated. And I love cutting open hats short like this. And rise, you'll see like here, it's just cut a bit short. It just makes it, I don't know, it gives it a more rigid rhythmic feel, which let's say in this type of house, it's definitely contextual, but in this type of house works. FL workflow with the drums. I don't know. Is this the FL? It's in Ableton. It's a lot harder to do like MIDI drums, in my opinion. Yeah, more snappier for sure. Very, 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 way more snappier, as Carnage would say. Anyways, so then yeah, like I said, snappiness with the ride here. You're not just letting it ride. Haha. There's a cutoff before each. Even, it's not too noticeable, but if you were to extend that, it would be a lot more fluid. Whereas this is quite rigid. There's just a pan, LFO pan going on here. Just creates more stereo depth. The clap here, not much, just got a reverb on it. You can see the reverb for a lot of these elements, the reverb and delay cuts off every other phrase here. We'll get into that. I call it the wet phrase and the dry phrase. That goes more into that call and response idea. But it's very effective, especially in progressive house. And we already touched on that tom. So actually, yeah, let's get into that idea of phrasing. So the drop here, first thing to notice is that the timing, the drop is almost half timed. Against the, I don't know, the build up, the verse, I don't know, whatever. It's almost half timed, right? Because you can see this chord progression. 2, 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But to really emphasize the idea of a drop, extend those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, you get it. And then this, the progression here is really intentional as well. Like, you know, this chord right here, we could call it a home chord. So that's where the progression's gonna land after every phrase, or at the end of every phrase. No matter, you know, it goes up here, it's still gonna land on this chord here. You know, so like, I mean, pretty much this chord rides out the entire track, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that because there are so many things breaking up the monotony of, you know, just having it essentially be 3 chords. You know, because if you were to play like fucking, let's see, go here. Wait, what is this one? Sorry, because I got so used to playing this phrase on the mini log, which is like, what is it? Yeah. So if it's just, oh my god, like, give me a break. You're almost creating new chords within the previous set of chords. I mean, it's just a basic concept of harmonization, but F minor. A new inversion of F minor that sounds completely fresh in the context of everything. So it's technically not reharmonizing M star because it is the same chord. But when you have it land on these different notes within that chord, it sounds completely fresh. It's a super, super, super effective tactic of theory and production and just chord theory in general. So again, so it's kind of trippy. All right, sorry for that tangent. Let's get back to this. Where were we? Right. So this home chord, this idea of the landing chord, that is working here in tandem with what I call the wet phrase and the dry phrase. So this whole section here, it's drowned out in reverb. I mean, this thing has reverb. These elements are going on which don't have reverb, but their release tails are just intense, and so I cut them out here for the dry phrase. You know, some of these drums have reverb, the clap, the rim, completely cut out here. Just that idea of call and response. Like I said earlier, I wish I had the dry stem of this this vocal sample here, just to really drive home the idea of like wet phrasing and dry phrasing. I don't. I wish I did. So this is kind of just wet throughout. But that's all right. So then, let mean, you can really just hear the contrast. It's like it's building up a tension for the you know, I was about to say harmonization actually. No, the new notes, the new top notes here of the discord inversion. It's just kind of building up tension for that because you've been hearing it for the entire track. All of a sudden, it's not happening when it should be. You know it's going to happen. The whole mix of the track opens up with a bunch of reverb. It's just building up that tension, especially here the sawwubs, the cutoff is being, just pay attention to this cutoff knob here. When we play this, it's like it's being completely like sucked, It's like I'm trying to get it in the camera. It's just being like pulled like here. Like it's just that, and then you have it open up a little bit again, right? Just right before the second wet phrase begins. Things like that. I mean, progressive house is just a lot of modulation when it comes down to it. It really just is a bunch of modulation. On this saw wub alone, you have the cutoff being automated. You have the reverb dry wet being automated. Like I said, the wet phrase, dry phrase. Let's see, where else can we? I'm in these leads as well. It's mostly volume, but so yeah, it's progressive house is a game of building up a ton of tension and using automation intentionally. Like I said, making things that aren't necessarily transitions transitional. It's almost like a big sort of sweep into the outro here, which isn't much of an outro. Again, this track is far from a complete track. It's just I would say another important thing is like with these we touched on it a little bit with these risers and impacts here. Really make the change in track section and track structure very apparent, because prog house, like I said, it can feel very redundant and feel very monotonous. If you can break it up, just something as subtle as that, especially here. I mean, obviously there's all these elements going on here, but I would say the riser and impact here are much more impactful. See how it almost becomes a percussive element, right? Like using time-based effects and modulation to bring movement direction to the song. Exactly. Let's see. And this could easily be taken. Oops. Why did I do that? Boom. This could easily be taken, so many different places. This style of music lends itself to a lot of addition, as in, there is so much room here for more elements, and if you wanted this to go into like some crazy drop, I don't know, it's like, um, that's what I really like about this genre. In its simplicity, it lends to a lot of complexity. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's not much else. I would say it's I mean, it's this project in particular is not fully obviously obviously not fully mastered. I mean, I just have a limiter going on. This is really great. I love this limiter. It's a D16 Frontier, not like the record label. But it's a nice sounding limiter. You can hear it in action, like how this opens up really huge in the outro. Makes these subtler, softer elements sound much more grandiose. Um, but as far as mixing goes, I mean, really all I've done here is just the you know, actually I should do these as well. The low cut brick walls that I have for all the elements except for the bass and kick, pretty much. you know, I think I actually forgot to do a lot of the drums as well with that. Did I? Yeah, yeah. So there are a lot of frequencies here that really can be, and you'd think that this would be resonant, right? I mean, it's such a sharp roll off that you'd think it'd be resonant, but again, in these frequencies, past, I don't know, past 60 hertz, you're not going to be hearing really any resonance, especially with such a soft EQ like Pro Q. I mean, if you were doing this with the stock Ableton EQ, yeah, you might hear a little bit of a resonance. That's a really harsh EQ. Um, with something as soft as Pro Q, you're definitely not going to hear it. But you know, we can barely hear anything below 30 hertz, especially. I mean, generally even for things below 40, like you're really kind of pushing it. But especially stuff below 30, um, you know, you're just not gonna hear it. Even if you do, it's more of a feeling instead of a actual sonic, presence, right? Um, so I mean, as far as mixing goes, this is really key. Just the low cut here, just the low cut. I'll put this one at 60, or just around 60. Um, yeah, I have it going for the tom. Yeah, I mean, pretty much nothing else needs it here. This mix is so simple that it's really not that big of an issue in any case. But yeah, definitely those are some big notes. I would say as far as notes go for this project here, structure is key. Layers are key. Avoid muddiness at all costs. Um, Create interesting grooves. Build tension. Like M Star said, movement and direction. Um, those are the really key things here. With that, I mean, that's pretty much it. If anybody has any specific questions, I'll take a few minutes to take those now. But if not, that's pretty much the session. Take a swig of water and wait for a message or two. right. Okay. It looks like we are in the clear. I mean, it makes sense. This is not by any means a complex, you know, project file or genre in general. Um, so, you know, really really simple breakdown. I'm sure future master classes will likely be a lot longer. We already have the next masterclass secured. I'm not gonna let that info fly just yet, but definitely be excited. Don't know if we're gonna be doing them weekly. Um, I guess that's the goal. I mean, we'll have to plan around feedback streams and all that. I mean, it's probably gonna end up being every other week. But yeah, we're just testing out this new style of thing here. I don't know. Could be largely beneficial. We thought it'd be quite quite beneficial to the community just to have a wide array of genres. Um, you know, community based producers to pick things apart. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that for what it was. And that's pretty much it. All right. I'll let the I'll let the track play one more time just to close out the stream.